Let's go! No. Let's go. If we continue like this now, where we go end? Bros, calm down. I know say it be like see all of us the verse now, but more will not say any damage where we dey cause now to our own state. And when we talk about our own state, we dey talk about ourselves, about our family, our fathers and mothers, our wives, brothers and sisters, even our children. If we use our own hands scatter what we get as our own, now where we go call our own again?
Na truth e talk o. After all, Governor Sheriff, he don promise say go do more for Deltans. Now wetin make us come dey fight now?
Wetin our guy dey talk so, e make sense.
You see am now. No be lie. We need peace today so that we go fit experience the more agenda. Meaningful development for all. But where there is no peace, there cannot be prosperity now. We dey fight, they prosper. No need for the fight. Now peace and unity. Now we want.
It takes peace to experience more.
Together in peace and unity, we will experience the more agenda.
Brought to you by Delta State Ministry of Information. Let's go! No. Let's go. If we continue like this now, where we go end? Bros, calm down. I know say it be like see all of us the verse now, but more will not say any damage where we dey cause now to our own state. And when we talk about our own state, we dey talk about ourselves, about our family, our fathers and mothers, our wives, brothers and sisters, even our children. If we use our own hands scatter what we get as our own, now where we go call our own again?
Na truth e talk o. After all, Governor Sheriff, he don promise say go do more for Deltans. Now wetin make us come dey fight now?
Wetin our guy dey talk so, e make sense.
You see am now. No be lie. We need peace today so that we go fit experience the more agenda. Meaningful development for all. But where there is no peace, there cannot be prosperity now. We dey fight, they prosper. No need for the fight. Now peace and unity. Now we want.
It takes peace to experience more.
Together in peace and unity, we will experience the more agenda.
Brought to you by Delta State Ministry of Information.
All right, so welcome back to the studio, and this is Family Corner, where we talk about things, happening in our family, our children, our spouses, and yes, most interesting thing that you need to know about family. And joining me this morning, still on Tuesday's edition, we have Mrs. Abigail Worry. She's a mother of 3 beautiful children, and an author of the Godly Seed devotional book for children and an advocate for godly parenting. I wish I can I can, roll my drum right now. Drum rolling. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, here we have her. We have Mrs. Abigail Worry. Yes, not the Worry.
No.
All right, welcome. So,
Thank you.
like I said, she's into so many things, but most importantly, she's an author of the Godly Seed devotional book that I'm holding, and yeah, it's for children, but parents can also read it. And she's an advocate for godly parenting. And so today we're going to be talking about. We're asking a question actually. So yeah, it's a topic, but we're asking a question. And the question is, do kids also deserve apologies and explanations from their parents? We're going to discuss this. And that's why I invited her here, because if you ask me to discuss it alone, hey, it's going to be so emotional for me. Yeah. Because I know that growing up, you dare not. You can't.
Yeah.
Question how, explain what.
Exactly.
Your parents can call you up if you're not lucky. They are okay. Let me not use that word if you're not lucky. If they are farmers, they can wake you up on a Sunday morning. Even when you're preparing to go and join the choir or do anything, they say today is farm.
Exactly.
And you dare not ask why. Because obviously you should ask why today of all days. And they ought to have given you an explanation. That okay, is because of this. You don't.
Yeah.
The next thing you're going to receive, you dare them, is the bars and the bows together. And that actually was how I grew up, because I dare not question my parents. They tell you this and that is it. They say don't do this and that is it.
Yeah.
You dare not ask questions. You dare not, question them. And when they even offend you and they realize that they have offended, it's not that I'm a parent that I'm able to know that they can actually realize they offended a child,
Of course.
or your child. They cannot tell you sorry.
At all.
It is not in the dictionary to say sorry.
Not
I mean,
at all.
it's below them.
Exactly.
To bring down the P will remove from the parents if they do that. So we grew up like that, and personally I know how that affected me even till now. I know how sometimes I used to do things that I'm supposed to do to my child or my children around me. So as a godly parent and someone who is an advocate for godly parenting, do you think that kids deserve apologies from their parents?
Thank you so
Also,
much.
explanation.
Yes. Thank you so much for that question. Just like you said, I also grew up that way. I also grew up not getting explanations, not being apologized to, not expressing yourself, right?
Yeah.
I also grew up that way. But the truth is, children deserve apologies and explanations. Why? Because they are humans like us.
Okay.
The fact that they are children doesn't make them less of humans, right? They are humans and they have emotions. They have emotions. Therefore, they deserve apologies and explanations.
Okay.
And if you ask me, the reason why you see a lot of adults having so much of emotional imbalance is as a result of those things that we went through as children. Now, imagine having to have so much explanation. I mean, imagine expecting so much explanation or apologies from your parents, and you got none. Each time you are yelled at, each time you're beaten up for something, as a child, of course, you are feeling like, what did I do? You expect to warrant this kind of beating, you deserve an explanation, but nobody explains and nobody apologizes, and you grew up with that hurt. You grew up with all of those baggages, and that's why you see a lot of adults walking around with so much emotional trauma. It started from the upbringing.
Right.
So for me, yes, our parents they didn't get it right then. I feel they didn't know much. You can't compare their own days and now that we have a lot of resources. We have books, we have the internet, just like we're here now talking about it, and people are beginning to unlearn and learn new
Relearn.
ways
Right.
of raising children.
Children.
So now that we know better, knowing that the way we were treated the result is not really good on us, because a lot of people are actually suffering or going through a lot as a result of their upbringing. So I feel it's something we need to start talking about, that parents should see it as a norm to apologize to their children and
When
even
they are
explain
wrong.
to them.
When they are wrong.
It doesn't when kids are wrong or when parents are wrong.
Yeah, when parents are wrong. When the kids are wrong, rather.
Well, for me,
Sorry. So parents apologizing to the kids when parents are wrong.
when
Maybe
parents
they,
are
they
wrong,
beat a child.
you know,
for
they
the wrong
teach. You know,
reasons.
have you been taught in church before that you should apologize to people that you did not even offend?
That's an adult now setting. I'm talking about parent-child relationship.
So
here.
it is not about being an adult. If we want children to apologize to people, even when they are not at fault, they
Even-
should start it while they are young.
Wait,
Then,
wait.
as a parent, you should model that to your child.
Okay, wait. Now let's be realistic. Now, a child, maybe you ask your child
Yeah.
to say, you call the person, Fumi, go and remove that bag from the chair. And then Fumi is asking you a question as a mother.
Yeah.
Why? I say, okay, because someone wants to sit on the chair and it's not good to put something on that chair.
Okay.
And then Fumi said, no, I will not remove it. As a mother, as an African mother, you know that the next thing that follows is probably a knock on the head or a slap or a spank.
Yes.
And you're telling me to apologize for my child. The child disobeyed me, so I do not need to apologize.
Okay.
So at that point, I was right
Okay.
to have spanked that child.
Now there is a saying that goes, two wrongs cannot make a right.
Okay.
Now the child disrespected you, fine and good. I also think there are better ways you as an adult would have handled it instead of beating up the child.
Okay, you're not an advocate of beating, I can see.
Not at all.
Okay, so how else?
Now, I feel at that point in time, yes, the child has disrespected you, and let's say, for instance, you have ended up beating the child, right? Your
Right.
question now is, why
Should
you
to my
apologize for disrespecting you?
Exactly.
Now, for me, I think first of all, you took a wrong measure, so you have to apologize for that.
Oh,
Yeah.
Really?
Then, after apologizing, you can now explain further. Remember, these are children. Even as adults, sometimes they ask us to do certain things, and we also disobey. Do you understand? Sometimes the authorities over us, maybe your husband, your pastor, anyone who is an authority over you, sometimes asks you to do things, and you also disobey. Do they hit you? No, they don't. Rather, they call you and tell you what you did was wrong. Do you understand?
Because I'm an adult now.
Yes, even children too. You know, sometimes we undermine children. We think they don't understand. Yes, when I started parenting, I understand the whole idea of you raising your children the way you were raised, because that's what you know.
Yeah.
That was how you were raised.
That's the
I
factory
understand.
setting.
And when I started parenting, I also I went through that route of hitting my children at every point in time. Every little thing, I hit them because I felt like, yes, that's the right thing to do. Now, when I now started studying and learning more about parenting, I started understanding that there are better ways to correct children rather than hitting them. Even if you want to hit them, that should be the first option. There are some punishments you are even going to give to children that serve worse than beating them. I have tried it so many times.
We are going to reel out the punishment too, because I'm lost for words right now.
Yeah.
Because I feel like the best way to correct a child is, because even the Bible promoted that.
Okay. No, now,
Spare the
let me
rod and
let me
spoil the
let me
child.
tell you why. Okay, let's go back to the main topic of discussion. So,
Please.
if we are going to talk about the whole spanking rod
Right.
thing, that's like a conversation on
Oh,
its
yeah,
own, right?
yeah.
So let's just stick to what we have on
Okay,
Grant's
okay,
Day.
okay.
Now, apologizing to your child, first of all, like I said, they have emotions. And now, remember, parenting is modeling. Parenting is a platform for teaching and learning,
Okay.
right? So the parents is the one teaching,
Okay.
and the child is the one receiving,
Right.
learning. So if you hit your child at every slightest provocation, what do you think you are teaching that child? You are
To
indirectly,
also-
yeah. That's why you see kids out there, they react at every slightest provocation.
Oh my goodness.
You don't teach them how to manage their emotions. You don't teach them, okay, someone has offended you. Chill, relax. Why don't you call the person and say, what you did was wrong? Do you understand? So if you understand the dynamics behind that beating, you are going to refrain from it.
How do I take a detour? Because we're already used to it.
Now,
And I feel
and that is why now, I said before now that we now have a lot of resources, a lot of things out there that are now educating us. And that is the essence of education. When you are educated, there should be a transformation of character.
I heard that.
Do you understand? So if you start hearing this thing, I am no doubt, not like you are going to just stop it immediately. But if you have a different mindset, have an understanding of what it is, you are consciously going to stop it over time.
Oh, it's going to take a longer
Yes,
time.
it might not just happen immediately.
Yeah.
But with time, because you are not conscious and you have a better understanding of what you are doing, and you will not want to raise the kind of person you were, because I will not say you have known better. You have not known the implication of those hitting, yelling, and all of that, right? So you wouldn't want to raise your child to be an emotionally imbalanced person. So that will make you not to now say, okay, it's my duty to raise a stable child. Do you understand?
Wow.
So at every point in time when you resort to hitting your child, when you resort to say, oh, she doesn't deserve an apology. Why should I apologize to my child? Parenting is not, you are not a president, you are not a governor over the child.
Really?
You are just a parent.
Okay.
You are just a parent.
Automatically, I'm the president.
You are not in a military zone, okay? It's a parent. You're supposed to make the environment conducive and relaxable for your children. A lot of children, like growing up, we were so tensed, right? We were so tensed, even in our homes, because we don't know. Sometimes you do something and you wouldn't know it will warrant to beating you, and you are
You
being
still
beaten.
You think that our
For
parents
it.
was handed down to our parents too?
And
from
even
their
sometimes
parents?
when you are trying to explain to your
Or
parents,
is the communities the way they understood?
it was
parenting?
handed over to them, right? But like I will always say, our parents didn't know better, because this kind of community we now have, where we can share our experiences, where there is now awareness and dissemination of information wasn't there. So you didn't expect them to do better.
Okay.
But I will always say, for our generation, we should do better, because there are a lot of, see, the truth is, when I heard about this whole spanking, don't spank your child, don't do all of this, mental health, whatsoever, I was like, all these people, they have come again, no, it's the beating. But have you actually realized that sometimes if you hit your child for a particular reason,
They do
it
it
doesn't
again.
stop it.
They do it
They still
again.
do it again.
Right.
So why? Because you haven't even explained to them why they should not do that thing.
So in explaining, I think that there are different ways to do this explanation, because if you just explain this, I think there's a tone or there's a mood. I don't know. I'm just thinking.
No,
I am not the expert here. You
yes,
are.
it's actually the same explaining to an adult, right?
You
But
don't raise your voice.
no, you do it calmly. You have a conversation. My oldest is 7,
Right.
and I have conversation with her, and I've realized that it's even easier. It's easier. They understand. Remember, our children are highly, their level of intelligence is high. Do you hear your daughter say some things and you'll be like, this thing, I knew it when I was in my 20s.
Right.
So what makes you think you cannot have conversations with that
them.
child? So I'll give you an example. My daughter, whenever they want to sleep at night, she's always fond of trying to distract her siblings, and I end up beating her almost every night. And you know, children, once they cry, they sleep. Abi? So the strategy was working for me like that.
Oh.
So one day, and you know, children, they don't forget. And that's why I think once you keep hitting them, you are demoralizing them. You are
I feel
hurting
so
them.
guilty. Like,
I'm so sorry about
I
that.
feel so guilty.
You are demoralizing them. My child when she wakes up in the morning, she wakes up with a frown face. And in my mind, as at that time, I didn't know better. And at that time, I would be like, if it pains you so much, then don't do it today again. Because if you do it, I will still beat you.
Oh, yeah.
So I kept on giving that attitude until my husband called me one day, be like, you beat this child too much. Don't you think she's going to be scared of you? You should limit it. I'm like, well, she doesn't hear. I will tell her to sleep. She'll be disturbing everybody. Okay, and then, like I said, since it's what I am into, I do a lot of reading about it, a lot of research and all of that. I've taken so many courses about parenting. And so one day, I had done that again. That night, that beating, not be here.
Oh,
Even myself, I felt it
you
like,
felt it.
were you trying
Is
to
this
fight?
me?
Were you trying to fight your child
You
or
would have
what?
gone to Gaza and fight the war.
Do you understand?
Yeah.
And then that night, for the first time, I felt bad about it. I don't know, maybe it was the Holy Spirit telling me, okay, what do you don't gain now? How do you feel now? You have been doing
good?
this, you have been doing this every day, and this child does the same thing. Why don't you look for a
Change.
better approach?
Right.
And so when she woke up that morning, she was, of course, was frowning her face. I called her and said, I'm so sorry for the way I treated you last night.
I can
And
imagine
she was
her
like,
surprise.
and she was
her
like,
surprise.
Mommy, even my hand, it's paining me.
Aw.
I'm like, I'm so sorry, but you know that you keep doing this every day. And that is one, I don't even like the fact that I have to hit you. I don't like it. It makes me feel inhuman. But why do you also do what you do? And she kept quiet. I said, you see, so you leave me with no option
That's
than
a
to hit
hit.
you. So do you promise Mommy to sleep immediately I ask you to sleep so that I don't hit you? And she said yes. Guess what? That night, she slept very well.
Till
Make I just say,
forever.
bedtime, she lay down on the bed and she didn't disturb. And immediately, I realized that we can actually do these things in a better way.
Yeah, it works for your daughter. See, you know why I'm laughing? It's children, there are some kids that you speak to like that. You talk to, you have conversation, beautiful one, and then they'll tell you, okay, I will change. They will carry on for like 1 month,
For a
2
while.
months.
I agree with
And then
you.
they will go back to the status quo.
I
and
agree
you're
with
wondering,
you. I agree with you. That is
So
where
what-
patience comes in as a parent. You know, our duty is actually to love our children unconditionally. Like I will always refer back to adults, even sometimes adults. That's why we wake up on the 1st of every year and we make New Year resolutions. And the first months we are doing well, we are at it. Maybe you say you want to work
Yeah,
out
January, oh.
every 6 a.m. you're out there working at. February, you're good. March and April,
Otilo.
you're toning down. See, these things, if you think about it,
Oh, wow.
it's a human factor. it's not. It's not limited to children. We all do these things. We are all guilty of these things. So the way you feel annoyed when your child do those things, that's how
God,
your
I can
situ-
imagine
even God.
how God will feel.
So we'll go to church and they teach us certain things, and you will say, "Oh God, I'm so sorry.
I surrender.
I'm sorry, I've repented. Have mercy on me." And then the next minute, but He keeps having mercy on you. As I say, His mercies are new every morning. Unconditional love. That's the love God wants us to extend to our children.
Okay.
And when we can do this, we are also training a child who will love unconditionally.
All right.
We are also training
the
children
ripple
who will
effect.
exactly who will love people, who will be able to accommodate people, tolerate people. Have you seen so many adults? They cannot tolerate people.
At all.
They don't. Even in marriages, some of the problems we have today is spouse finding it difficult to apologize to their spouse.
Right.
Spouse finding it difficult to explain and say, I don't owe her any
They say,
explanation.
especially from the men.
Because that was how they were brought up.
Why would I explain my every move to you?
That's
like, are
because-
you my guardian?
That's because that was how they were brought up. That's why we need to change the narrative as modern parents who knows better, who knows that the outcome of that parenting, yes, they did quite well.
Yes. So,
Yes, but there's every need for us to improve, to do better.
I'm glad that you mentioned that they did quite well,
Yeah.
but that we're going to just improve on what they have done.
Yeah.
Because it's not enough to just rule out the fact that that didn't work for them. There are children who grew up in that atmosphere and still learned whilst growing up that okay, these are their way of nurturing,
Not
of
everybody,
parenting.
not now. When we grow up, like they will always say, as an adult, you don't have to blame your background or your upbringing for your attitude. Because now
Right.
that you're an adult, you are supposed to take responsibility and fix whatsoever you know is not right in your life.
Right.
But then again, parenting would have helped. Imagine growing up with the right attitude.
Right.
Imagine growing up knowing that you should apologize, you should have conversations, you should explain, you should take responsibility, you should be empathetic, and as in when you offend people, put yourself in their shoes. Like you just hit a child, can you put yourself in the child in the shoes of that child? Do you understand? So if we look at it from that point, we just keep feeling, I would say our parents in that mode of discipline only instilled so much fear in us.
It was fear and not even respect.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
It was.
That is why now you see that we are grown. If you see a lot of the millennials that are grown now, they don't have respect for their parents.
Anymore.
That's healthy relationship is not there.
Right.
Because you still remember all the things they did to you.
All the injuries inflicted.
Exactly. You still remember those things. So now that we know better, I feel we should do better. You just keep trying. You keep exploring. Sometimes you can go with promising them. Okay, if you sleep early today, I'm just using that sleep as an example. If you sleep early today, tomorrow morning I'm going to do this for you. I'm going to buy this for you because they are
Okay.
children.
Now, that brings me to the place of abuse of privileges. Because some children, when you start saying, I'll buy you this, the day you don't mention you're going to buy, or the day you don't mention a favor, they're not going to do it. So what other options can we now adopt where you see that a child is clearly abusing a privilege?
Okay, well, for me,
Especially the Gen D, is it Gen Z?
the
we
Gen
call them?
Zs.
Are they even in that category?
Well, for me, I would say whatever method that you want to apply in parenting, you should be dynamic about it.
Okay.
Don't make it a standard.
Straight jacket
Do you understand?
approach.
Let them not understand the approach to that particular whatsoever. Let them not understand it. So sometimes I do promises. Sometimes I can, like there was a punishment I gave to my children. This sibling rivalries.
Yeah.
My daughter and my son, they are always at each other. And I
Yeah.
have settled them. I have preached the Bible. I have given them the Bible to read. I have taught them about love.
Yeah.
I have done everything humanly possible, and they still keep at it. So on this particular day, they went at each other again. And of course, the millennial in me wanted to really beat them. No, as in, that was what I wanted to do. But I remembered that I have said that would be my last option. I will try as much as possible to avoid it. If it's possible, I will. And so, while I was thinking about what to do, immediately, like I said, there's something about, first of all, having a mindset about something. Once you have a different mindset and an understanding of something, you will keep having, how am I going to put it? Different ways to handle it. Ideas will keep coming. That's how it works.
Okay.
So while I was just there, just thinking of, first of all,
So how long have you been on the journey of no beating?
okay, just maybe a year too now.
Okay, just a year too.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's a lot. Okay, yeah.
So not like I'm saying it's not there at all.
Right. Sometimes
But-
you feel you have the urge.
Yes.
You feel the urge.
Yes, to
actually
do that.
it.
Maybe
But
I
you're
have
refrained
when I have
by your principle.
exactly when I have explored all
All
options,
options.
and I'm still not getting the required results.
Results.
Of course, we are human beings now. When you do the verse like this, you be like, okay, yeah, now just
Okay,
take
now
your
let's
bath.
just collect,
Do you
collect.
understand?
What
So, but that particular day, something happened. I first of all, I asked them to kneel down, and they did. So I was just thinking, I've loved the children. Maybe I should leave them. And something just okay, lock them up. in different rooms separately.
Mm.
Let them now value having each other.
Oh.
So when they come out, by the time you stay alone, nobody to talk to. When you come out, you will value people around you and you will relate better.
Right.
So I took my daughter, I locked her up somewhere. I made sure there was no fan in that place. And you know this heat. I heard you talking about, this heat, and I locked her there. I took my son, locked him in a separate room. No fan, no AC, stayed there. I left them. They cried there. Did I beat them?
No.
No. They cried.
Oh.
I left them there for like 30 minutes.
You were checking your time?
Yes.
Wow.
In the initial plan was, as a millennial parents,
Yeah.
it was 1 hour I wanted to leave them.
Okay.
But when they were not crying, but the mother in me now said, it's okay, it's okay. In fact, it's my husband that even came to apologize and say, okay, just leave them. So when they were coming out, I said, you will promise me that you people will not fight again.
Yeah.
And then I opened the door for my daughter. And then my son too, I opened the door for him. Now, do they still fight? Yes. But what do? I remind them. I say, if you continue, I'm telling you,
go to house prison.
do you understand? You will go to that place. Do you want to go there? No.
They
Oh,
say
yeah.
no.
Respect yourself. Do you understand? So I feel you can, as time goes on, you will begin to discover better ways.
Okay.
Yes. But when you are limited to that yelling and hitting, it stays there. Shouting.
There's this particular woman in my neighborhood. In fact, how do you know she's awake? Of course, with the way she yells at the kids when they're prepping for their school or even church. Early morning, she can start at 4 a.m. and she's already shouting.
And how do you feel when you hear her shout?
Oh my God, I feel so
irritated, right?
And
that is how
I sound.
do you understand?
When I shout.
Now let me not tell you what happened. Because I was always shouting, I was always yelling at my daughter from a very younger age. Now that immediately she turned 6, 7, whenever she's having an argument with her siblings, she yells. In fact, she even took up the beating role. Once her siblings does anything, she hits them. So whenever I hear her yells, I'll be like, Yule, stop yelling. And first thing that will tell me that's how you yell. Now, I am trying to stop her from hitting her siblings. But of course, I will have to stop it first. You now see why I realized at that moment. You now see why I realized at that moment. Now, when I now stopped hitting them, when I now want to, maybe I want to talk to her why she should stop hitting her siblings, because I have after practicing my own for a few months, so I will now use myself as an example. I say, do I still hit you when you do something wrong?
Said no.
She said no. Do you not understand?
Yeah.
So they look up to you. We are their role models. So we have to keep developing new ways of doing this thing better. If we must raise better adults, so that, because there is every need for us to consider these things. These things affect marriages.
It does.
You raise an adult who is emotionally imbalanced, it affects them when they get married. And it affects them even in the workplace. You see some people in the office, they offend you, they find it difficult to apologize. They find it difficult to explain. All they do is, because when you were growing up, you were not given that opportunity to express yourself. So we all think it's normal, it's okay not to express yourself. And then you keep bottling those things up. And it has resulted to...
They term those type, they are quiet. They are humble.
Exactly.
And they're not.
And
certainly not.
If you open the inside of them, it's boiling.
Or the day the body will explode.
Do you understand?
My goodness.
So
different kinds of organisms will definitely crawl up out of that bottle.
Exactly. So I will say every child deserves an apology. They are humans, and they have emotions. And the more you don't apologize, more explain, the more you keep demoralizing them. Hurting their emotions, and they grow up with that trauma and becomes very bitter human beings.
So in driving this conversation, for me, I'm able to understand that yes, it's not like you will not punish your child. Of course, children will be children.
Yes,
you have to teach them and guiding them. But then when you even punish them, you let them know why you're punishing them.
Exactly.
That's what makes the difference.
Yes.
That's what when they say difference between our mothers or our parents, and then
Gen Z
and now
generation, yeah.
the millennials. What is the difference? That doesn't negate the fact that we as parents, at every given misdemeanor from our children, we just swallow it hook, line, and sinker. No.
No, not at all.
We are disabusing that. However, the approach is what we're trying to modify.
Exactly.
Because we've seen that our parents, of course, they did all that they know how best to do
Exactly.
in their time, and they, trying to, raise us right, trying to make us become, good people in the society.
Yeah.
But that's kind of affected us individually.
Yeah.
How we think, how we
How
are
we
also
relate.
raising
Yeah.
our own children. But now in modifying it, we're saying that beating, yes, that's spare the rod. See that part. We're going to discuss it too. Very, very.
Don't worry. We'll
That's
have a
spare the rod,
conversation
that's
on
why the
it.
child is really, really.
Okay, do you remember the
Because-
psalm where David also said, "Thy rod comforts me."
They
That's
prepare
also-
a table before me.
Thy rod and the
comforts-
staff comforts me.
comfort me.
That's also a rod in
Yeah,
the
they
Bible.
comfort. Now you can spank it.
And the flogging will comfort the child.
I don't even know what to say.
So rod can
But-
actually be it can signify so many things. Do you know there are rods of words? Sometimes some people will say, "You for just beat me now," because all these words that you have said now,
They
they are.
have stripped the person naked.
Do you understand?
Flogged
There are
the
so
person.
many rods. You can even hit somebody with an action. In
So
quotes.
fix it in just. I think it's perception. Of How we
Exactly.
received
But
it.
we just narrowed it down
to
to
cane, to
cane.
flogging.
Yes. Rods can be words. Remember, the Bible also says the word of God is instructional.
It is.
It's for reproof and for instruction.
That's right.
Do you understand? That's words. Words are powerful.
It is.
As much as you think they are just words, no, they goes beyond that. So sometimes that's why you see that in some marriages, some people will tell you that, no, my husband does not hit me, but I think I prefer if he would have been
hits
hitting
me.
me, because his actions and his words sometimes are
Tear-
way more than tears me apart,
Right.
drowns me emotionally.
Right.
Do you understand? So we most times we just feel rods is just all about hitting, physical hitting. No, it
Yeah.
goes beyond
The
that.
one I can give to myself, because all the while you were saying, I felt so guilty because I do it, but
Please, you
I'm
shouldn't
just
do
going
that.
to
It's
try.
because you don't
I'm
know.
just going to try to refrain from, especially spanking and beating and yelling.
Exactly.
But the one that I know that I can, give myself kudos is the fact that I don't curse my child.
Okay.
But those are what we got growing up. You are all manners, and they will tell you that there's a devil somewhere picking those words. Why is the devil not picking the right ones? But it goes to show. So because that actually affected me deeply. So I try not to use those same exact words on my children,
Okay.
because I cannot imagine calling my daughter or my child a goat. What does that even mean? And some people rain abuses, insult, curses on their children. It still happens even now.
Okay, that's what I wanted to just say now. That's for you as an individual who was able to realize that these curses really affected me as a person. There are some people that didn't realize it, even not up to now. And they are also doing it to their children. They are replicating it right now in their parenting. Do you understand? So that part for you were able to realize. And now I am talking here even as someone who was raised with so much yelling and flogging. Imagine when your dad is a teacher and a pastor.
My dad was a teacher. Oh my goodness, why?
My dad is a teacher, and as at then he was a teacher and a pastor, and he's still a pastor. So that combination,
Oh my.
you can imagine, they don't want you to disgrace them in the church.
Yeah.
So you keep getting that discipline with cane. In fact, my mom's own, she does not even flog you. She beats you like her mates. And we experience this thing. Now, most times now we are saying they are children, they are still young. Do you know we experienced this beating till even when we were adults? Even
And
at
still
18.
living in their room.
Yes, at 18, 19. Okay, let me say 14, 15, 16, secondary
Yes,
school,
yes,
17.
yes.
You know, in our own time, we stayed at home for a very long time because of jam that
after
was
jam.
jamming us.
Yeah.
And we stayed sometimes, some person stayed till like 20, 21, and
We're
we
still
were still collecting.
Yeah.
So we are not saying it's because they are children, but they did this thing even while we were adults.
Yeah.
Do you
And
understand?
you know the interesting thing? They do that especially the first, second bonds. If you have a parents who give birth to like 6, 7, you see though the 6th, 5th, 4th, 5th, 6th, they don't have time for them anymore. Because
but
I think that
the
they
oldest
pass.
one does the discipline.
Oh yeah.
Yes. Most times you realize that the oldest ones now be the one to that carry out
Transfer.
because that was
I
her.
be the shaker that was given. All right. Okay, so you wrote a book. You're an author, a writer. I always envy people who write. I don't like writing, but I love reading.
Okay.
Yeah, but I don't like writing.
Same here.
But then each time I go, So you wrote a book, The Godly Seed, and I know that it's for children. And I'm wondering, okay, yeah, I know that a couple of devotionals for children.
Yeah.
But this is an exception looking at it. And what inspired you?
Okay.
What's the inspiration behind it?
As a Sunday school teacher, I'm a Sunday school teacher, by the way, and even before I became a Sunday school teacher, I don't like children who are, let's quote in quotes, children who are not well raised, indisciplined children, disrespectful children. And if you look around you, you will realize that we are losing our morals and values. Yes, in as much as we want children to express their self, they are now beginning to cross the line, and it's now being disrespectful.
Exactly.
And that's why I think parents should come in to tell their children, oh, once you have gotten to this part, you are no longer expressing yourself, you are now being disrespectful.
That's where the explanation comes in.
Exactly. That is where the training and the guidance comes in.
Okay.
Because as children, they might not even know when they have crossed that path, right?
Okay.
So and as I see that, and most especially when it comes to believers, Christians, they are more focused on the social aspect of children. Like all of us, we are very serious when it comes to their school. We take them to school, good schools, buy them good clothes, look good, dress well, and all of that. But when it comes to their spiritual lives, which is the basis of their values and their morals, we don't do those things. We don't talk about it. We are not serious about it. So I see a lot of children, even in my church, and I see that most of these things are no longer there. And at some point, I became concerned, and I wished so many times if I could do something about it. Like, children should grow up to know God. You know, while we were growing up, it was like a practice then for our parents. Morning devotions, you must go to church, you must do this, you must do that. But I'm no longer seeing that in parenting. So I said, okay. For a very long time, I carried the burden and I didn't know what to do about it. So one fateful day, I was just reading my devotional by Joyce Meyer. It's a women devotional. And that devotional really helped me so much in realizing who I am as a woman and much more things I can do, you know. And when I saw the pattern, the way she wrote the devotion, I said, something just told me, like, you can do something like this for children. All the things that you think, because I interact with my children in church, and there are so many things they tell me about. And I feel like, okay, you can put these things into writing, make it a daily devotional, so that they can learn. This book is like, of course, it's a godly seed, but I wrote most things about it is just the day-to-day life of a child, bullying, kindness, showing kindness to people, knowing who you are, your identity, knowing yourself that you are beautiful, no matter how you look. You are unique. You are beautiful. Working hard as a child, because now children feels like work is suffer head, you know, things like that. So it's basically the day building a strong character as a child and knowing who you are as a child. So I have to now start bringing out topics that talk about these things daily. That's what volume 1 is all about. So volume 2, I'm looking at something more about mindset and so many other things that can make our children do great things, grow up with a positive mindset of knowing that you can actually do great things. Don't limit yourself.
Right. So what does it take to become a good author?
Well,
or a writer? Because
like I said,
want to say, I want to be addressed like, oh, she's
An author.
this is an author. She wrote this book, volume 1, volume 2, volume 3. And I'm looking at myself, can I do this?
Funny enough, and that is the reason, that's why I said in my volume 2, I want to let children know that you can actually do whatever you want to do.
Oh,
You can.
okay.
When I wanted to write this book, I don't like writing either.
Oh.
Yes, I didn't like it. I would rather talk. I can express myself more when I talk.
Obviously.
Yeah, but it asked me to put all of this into writing
Ah.
is going to be hard. So while I was still there, when the inspiration came that I should write the devotional for children, I was like, right, not my thing, you know. But immediately I was reminded about something called an editor. So
Editor.
you put your ideas into writing, whichever way you want to write it, just put it down. An editor will pick it up and edit it, and when you see it, you're not going to believe that you're the one that wrote it. But you just know that the editor was able to interpret your ideas. That's the role the editor plays. Now, this is for volume 1. And now that you have decided to embark on that journey, you now start improving yourself. There are so many apps that can help you right now. Just write it anyhow you want to write it. You have AI, so many apps are there.
You have ChatGPT.
Exactly, that can help you to improve your writing skills. And funny enough, once you start doing it with time, you will get better, you start improving, and you will start loving it. Just like I'm sure when you started this thing, you were not as expressive as you are now.
True.
But as you keep doing it, you keep improving on it. So that's just it.
And becomes
You
a
don't
work in progress
you don't
still.
have to know how to do something before you
Before you
start it.
start.
The most important thing is your interest, your willingness. Just go with it, and with time, everything will start aligning.
Okay. Do you see yourself writing, moving away from maybe the godly seed devotional for children to something for adults, because I think it needs to go around, not just talking to children. What about talking to parents?
Well, like when I started, it was more about children.
Okay.
I was just interested in children. But when I now started selling my book, the expression and the everything I was getting from parents, I realized that the problem is not from the children. The children are not the problem, the parents. Like, why will you buy a book? And I will ask you, are your children reading it? And you say, they don't used to read it too. Like, it's the nonchalant attitude.
Like early in the morning, what happens to devotion?
Do you understand? So you just
Devotion time.
at that point I realized that no, it's not. No, I have to start talking about parenting, and that's why I do what I do on Instagram,
Right.
online, where I now start hammering it. Say, this parenting thing, you are taking it for a joke.
It's not.
Our parents took this thing very serious. Like, they were so serious about it. But now we are so negligent.
So relaxed.
We are so much focused on making money. And when you finally make
Content
this money,
creation.
exactly, we don't have time to want to concentrate on raising godly children anymore. We are so confused. We want to raise children who we go on the internet to twerk and do all of those
The
things.
Gen Z bodies.
At the end of the day, this thing will still come back to us. When these children grows up and they are, of course, when things start happening, you are the parents, you will not be at peace.
True.
Do you understand?
True.
So when I started, like I said, it wasn't about parenting at all. For me, I felt like I was too young to even talk about parenting. Yeah.
Oh, no.
Yes. I felt like I was too young to address the issues of parenting. I felt like I needed to have more experience in that area. But for me, as a child, I know the things, I know the values my parents instilled in me that helped me. In as much as I would
Shaped
say,
you.
yes, that shaped me and helped me in taking decisions and has brought me this far, right? So I said, okay, I can use from those experiences to write something for children. But when talking about parenting, I felt like I wasn't qualified. But now that I'm doing it, I'm now realizing that, yes, I can talk about it because I'm not a parent.
Of course.
Even if you are
can.
not a parent, you have been parented. So you
yeah.
can talk about parenting. You are seeing
Right.
what is happening in the society. So you can address issues that have to do with parenting.
That's very correct.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. We'll be speaking with Mrs. Abigail Worry, a mother of 3, an author of the Godly Seed devotional book for children. That's what I'm actually holding. And she's also an advocate for godly parenting. You can check her out on Instagram and of course see things for yourself. All right, on behalf of the crew, thank you.
Thanks
Thank
for
you
having
coming.
me. Thanks
It's
for
been
having
an
me.
interesting, and of course, it's a segment, and we'll just hope that as time goes by, we'll discuss about other issues affecting us as parents.
It's a pleasure.
Thank you for riding with us this beautiful Tuesday on behalf of the crew. My name is Ife Osita Olonwa. See you when I see you. Bye for now.